everyone, my name is Kaikun6 and I'm here to do another episode of Playlist Stories. I remember I told you guys last week that I was going to do like 2 playlist stories in a row so that way I could feel like I caught up, because I feel like I skipped out in May and I felt like I almost missed out on June and then July, and so I felt like, okay, let me see if I could try to find a way how to make it up, and so that's what I did. And last week, I did talk about, like, a 3rd grade teacher that I felt like a lot of people will call it bullying, and I kind of accepted that as now as an adult, that, yeah, maybe this teacher was bullying me, but it was not just me, it was other students. And so I wanted to continue the path of, like, I guess, like, my somewhat school life that I had. And so I'm going to talk about, like, some experiences that was, like, attached to this one song, and I'll talk about it in a sec. But yeah, so if you're new to this channel, hi, I do these type of videos every month or so, and when I first started uploading, I used to do them weekly, and now I'm doing it monthly, since like I have been trying to like add more content to the channel and this and that. And so I felt like, okay, let me start doing this every month, and hopefully now I'll be able to catch up on almost a monthly type of thing for this channel. But yeah, like all it is just songs that I talk about, like that I listen to as of today, that are attached to memories. Like memories are attached to these songs, and I like to talk about these type of memories to you guys. So yeah, but yeah, as you can see the title, Build a Bridge by Limp Bizkit. This song has been like, I want to say kind of like this song that just every single time I listen to it, it's like a crutch. I want to say it's like my kryptonite. Like, it is my favorite song of all time from Limp Bizkit. Like, my family and my friends can tell you more about it, but like I just remembered like me listening to this song so much ever since 2003, and since then I have not stopped. I feel like when I was like in high school, I just remember like we fantasized about getting tattoos and this and that. I just remember like I would love to get that song, like just Build a Bridge, like somewhere on my wrist, and who knows if I'll ever do that one day, but like I would love to do that, and just get some tattoos that are like very, very meaningful to me. Like I just want to get either like a Limp Bizkit logo on me, or just like song titles from that band, like just tattooed like on my skin, and see what happens. But sadly I never got around to that, since like life got in the way, and who knows, but maybe one day I'll get a tattoo, who knows. But anyway, but yeah, this is my favorite song from Limp Bizkit. I remembered my brother bringing the album Results May Vary. That was like the first time I ever heard this song, and this was back in 2003, and that was when I was in the 6th grade. I remembered it was like a very hot day, and I know it was like past summer, because I was about to go transition into like the 7th grade, I want to say. And so I felt like I listened to that album so much, and like it just hit my soul, you guys. It's like one of my favorite albums. Like anybody can ask you guys, like, oh, like, yeah, I just love that album so much. Like I feel like I've had days where I'm just like thinking about that album all the time, and like what to do if I don't have that album on hand, like what other album would be on there. And of course I chose the other ones and stuff like that. But I just remember 2003 was like a very significant part of my life, not only because like it was just like a perfect time of the year where I started getting into a lot of hobbies that I enjoy, which I still do as of today, and both of them, which was like writing and singing. Like, even though I'm not that very good at writing or singing in that matter, but like I felt like I've enjoyed it a lot when I was little, and so now it's like one of those things that I enjoy now doing as an adult at 33 years old, and I just love it. But yeah, so I'm gonna talk a lot about memories that are attached to the song, because I remembered when I was on this streak of like talking about my 3rd grade teacher at the time. I was just like, oh, I don't know if I should talk about the ones from my 4th to 6th grade, because not much has happened there. All I remembered was getting awards from since then. So it was like a full 3 years of getting awards for like spelling stuff, or perfect attendance. It was like the student of the month or some other stuff, and then even got like a presidential award at one point. But the thing was that at 1 year I was earning these awards with a different teacher, and I think that was in the 4th grade, I believe. Like it had like a certain name to them, but either way, it was like I was the only student that had that name anyway. And so I felt like, oh, well, she has so and so teacher, so how come it's under that name? And so I just remembered, like, for the first few weeks of my 4th grade, I just had a teacher that turned into a principal. And so he was still getting awards through that name, or like his name was still on those awards, whereas it should have been credited to, no, that was my 5th grade teacher, my bad, you guys. I remember 4th grade was Mr. He, and then my 5th grade was Mrs. Martinez. And so yeah, Mrs. Martinez was like basically still shocked that is like, okay, I need to start giving out awards for, like, with my name under there. And I think I remembered, like, the other half of the year it was with her name on there, but I remember the majority of the time it was with the principal of the name, which was so strange because we never expected for this teacher to be a principal, but like the job opportunity came up and he took it. He was just like, I'd rather be a principal. And he was doing so much better than the female principal that I had when I was in 3rd grade and 4th grade. And I was hoping he'll be happy with it. I don't even know if he still is a principal at the time at that elementary school, but I knew he enjoyed him being a principal at the time. But yeah, anyway, after all that, I was just like, okay, my experiences in 6th grade also led to me just like enjoying creative writing and singing, mainly because I did talk about it in a previous episode, and it was like my 6th grade crush at the time, Caught, where it was in the episode of Just Lose It by Eminem. I talked about like how he used to like, it kind of like motivated me to like write more, because when I was enjoying writing, he enjoyed it so much, and I was just like, okay, I need to do something more about this. But in reality, writing is always going to be my hobby. But yeah, anyway, so I wrote down a few things on my trusty notebook, and I'm going to go through them with you really quickly. Hopefully this video isn't that long, but I know it's going to be very long, so strap yourselves in, get yourself some water or something to eat or something. Just, yeah, so that way we can get through it, because there's a lot of memories that are attached to the song. Because I felt like, since I tell everybody like, oh, this is my favorite song, like there's some other memories that came attached to them. And so the main one was basically my brother introducing me to the song, and it's only because of that album and this and that. And so yeah, so my very first vivid dream, or well, actually, yes, I had like a very first vivid dream when I was like 5-6 years old. I remembered like it was kind of like a lifelong type of dreaming, I would say, because every single time whenever I even thought about it, like that night, it would come out like some other stuff, this and that. And so I felt like it was just like a lifelong type of journey for me to write a short story. And then now I have it like written like somewhere behind you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a mess, but I'll show you guys. But it's somewhere back there. As you can see, there's like the binders and stuff. Like, there's binders full of short stories, but there is one like right here, right behind where like this little stack of boxes is, and that's like my main one that I have written, like, I don't know, over and over again, because I felt like the rewritten version was always better than the original, and blah blah blah. I don't know, I've had that type of thinking for a while. And so I remembered I had to rewrite this one story, and it's not that one, you guys, it's like a totally different one, and I titled it My Sweet 16. And I was thinking like maybe a sweet maybe my 16-year-old experience was going to be a lot better or something. And no, I remember when I was 16, all I remember was me watching SpongeBob all the time and just enjoying these friendships that I've gained with my friends and this and that. And so I had to rewrite that for like a creative writing assignment, and that was like when I was in the 7th grade. So I originally wrote that story back when I was in the 6th grade. I enjoyed it so much, and including my crush at the time enjoyed it. Even my best friend at the time, Demi, enjoyed it. And so I felt like, okay, maybe I should. I thought I was going to pursue a career in writing, and I was like, no, I just enjoy writing. And as a as a hobby, and that's all it's ever going to be. But like, if I were to have the courage to self-publish, I am hoping that my second grade vocabulary will be passable for somebody as an adult as I am, because I'm just like, I know a lot of these writers have like degrees, and I'm not that very good like at basically with vocabulary. Like, I just explain the most simplest things on paper, but at least it's like I understand it. And so who knows if somebody else will understand the way that I'm writing. But if I were to put that out in the world, who knows? But if I were to do that one day, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I just need to have like some sort of like feedback from it. And I remember I used to do like websites at the time, like fictionpress.com and some other ones. I think LiveJournal was another one too, that I remember I wrote down a short story, and a lot of people really did like it, especially since like my vocabulary at the time was not that good, and I didn't explain scenes very well, or the background, because I know a lot of people like to envision the background and this and that. And so I felt like, well, I wasn't that. I was more like dialogue driven, as they call it. And so I felt like I concentrated more on the dialogue from these characters than the background of anything, because I felt like I didn't care about that. And so now like my short stories are kind of like that, even though like the way I describe it in there, it's like I could still imagine it as of today, like from years and years ago, of like how I written it. But anyway, so I remember at one point, I don't remember what happened to the original copy to My Sweet 16, and so I had to rewrite it again as a homework or like a creative writing assignment for my 7th grade English teacher. And I don't remember his name, but I remember it was Mr. C. But I remember somebody said his name is Sebastian, and I was like, I don't know about that. But I remember I called him Mr. C and Mr. S, and then he didn't mind it at all. So I ended up calling him Mr. C a lot. So anyway, so I wrote it down, and I remember he fell in love with the story, but there was just so many mistakes on there. And I was just like, oh, it figured. Like, I don't know nothing about vocabulary. And sometimes at the time, like, my spelling was pretty good, but not that good, you guys. Like, even as of today, I feel like my spelling was still the same. But, like, I feel like me writing for so much and then just, like, reading articles online or some other stuff, I felt like my spelling, I should say, not my vocabulary, has improved over time. And so whenever Blake asks me to spell a word, and I'm just like, I got you, fam. But if you ask me to like spell a very complicated word, it's gonna take me a while because I have to envision it in my brain just to spell it. But yeah, anyway, I wrote down, I ended up getting a C+ at first, but once he read it again after a month of reviewing grades, that grade jumped to a B-, making me happy. And that was true. So I just remembered like the results may vary came out at such a perfect time. I was like listening to that album all the time. It increased my imagination. I wrote that on there. That song, like especially Build a Bridge, has made my imagination grow bigger and wider when it came to writing. Because I remembered I would like listen to this album so much, and then I thought about like mini short stories from there, just like envision it and this and that. And so I felt like it kind of like increased it, I would say. And then it became to the point where I was like, now like it became like back in like 2019, I want to say. I have been writing since then, but reality, I've been writing since I was like a kid, but I have never physically wrote anything and like kept it up until 2019. And so I remember I had dream journals at the time, and I even wrote those in the short stories. And then I don't know what happened with my dream journals. They just got lost on the way over here when I moved to Texas. And so there was a majority of them I still remembered what those dreams were, and I turned them into short stories. And so My Sweet 16 happened to be one of them. My teacher ended up enjoying it. And that made me happy. So I was just like, cool. And then now 8th grade rolled around. I had Mrs. B. I don't know if her last name was like Berenthal or Bernthal, whatever her name was, but she was also like an English teacher that I had at the time. And the ironic part was like the creative assignment that we were supposed to do for that class. I almost spoke like in an accent. Sorry, you guys. Our assignment was to sing a patriotic song for a grade, and she loved it. So I just remember telling this teacher, I remember how embarrassed I was, because I was just like, oh my goodness, my turn is about to come up next and I'm gonna be so embarrassed, blah blah blah. So anyway, once it got to my turn to sing a patriotic song, because it was like around this time of the year where we're about to go into summer school, and 4th of July is around the corner, especially now, and the teacher wanted us to sing some patriotic songs. And then of course most of them were shy, which I understood. I felt like I understood their shyness, because I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna sing really well, even though in reality I was practicing in the background for so long. I remember like practicing for a couple weeks, hopefully not to break my voice or anything. And I remember my mom was just like, are you doing okay, sweetie? And I was just like, yes, I'm trying to practice for this homework assignment I'm getting. And she's just like, you can do it. You've been singing since you were literally just a kid, and so you're gonna be fine. And I was like, okay. So by the time it got rolled around to my time to me singing, I just remember standing up, because I think I told you guys before in a previous episode from Underneath the Gun by Limp Bizkit, also in that episode. And I told you guys about like Anthony Soto and this and that. And so weeks prior to his suicide and stuff like that, and then Rhea and I having some issues with our friendship also, just because of the suicide. It's only because of the popular kids, this and that. But anyway, so they were expecting me to be a little bit, worse than them or something. And I'm over here like, nah, basically. I was like, I have been practicing. And it's like, oh, really? We wanted to hear that. As soon as I hit the first note, everybody was just like, oh my goodness, she is about to kill this. And everybody, I remember their faces were shocked, including my teachers at the time. I hit the high note so well that 2 classes down from where I was at, they overheard it and they were like, what the heck is that? They went to go, like the 2 of the teachers from there went to go check, and they were like, is everything going on over here? And it's like, yeah, we're okay, don't worry, blah blah blah. And then Mrs. B talked to them about what happened, and they were like, wow, she's fucking loud. And I was like, I'm sorry. And so once I was done with that assignment, everybody clapped for me, and then I went back to my seat. Immediately I got an A-. I don't know why I got an A-, but I just thought maybe I was terrible. But no, I thought it was like a pity grade or something. But no, she just really loved it. She said that there were a couple of points that she thought that it was going to shatter her eardrums, and because of that she gave me an A-. And so I was like, cool. And but yeah, so they loved how I sang, including my classmates. And then I got a passing grade for hitting the high notes well, which I was very surprised about. And then Rhea and Anthony, along with the class, liked the song too, leading me to doing choir for 4 years in high school, which that was true. And so yeah, after that, one day from, I think it was like a month or so before we were going to go on summer vacation, right? Mr. C came to visit the classroom, and I think they were like best friends or something at the time. I don't remember, but he did show up into that class. And I just remember like clutching to like a notebook I had, because like at that time I was going through the dream journal stage at the time, where I was writing down everything on the journals and this and that. So like I was just clutching into my notebook, and I thought, okay, if I could remember this one vivid dream very well in class, I'm just gonna write it down. I don't care. Like if I get in trouble, that's okay, because I feel like if it doesn't leave my brain, it's just gonna haunt me forever, right? And so even as of today, it does that. Like I will have recurring dreams, and if I don't write it down, I will have it almost every single night. And it has been like that since I was a kid, especially with my Sweet 16 at the time. And then finally when I wrote it all down on a homework assignment, it literally went away. And then whenever I do think about that story, like I do want to read it all the time. And I remember I rewrote it back in 2019, and now I have like the physical copy with me over here, and then I have like a rewritten version of it in another notebook, and it's just amazing. But yeah, anyway, so I just remember both of them were like, I remember I said, good morning, Mrs. B. And then Mr. C turned around and just said, oh my goodness, I didn't even know you were in this class. And I said, hey, it's Mr. C. How you're doing? And she's like, yeah, like we just got done with our assignments, blah, blah, blah. And then he was talking about how, like, I had her in my class, and she wrote this like really good story. And like, do you have a copy of it? And I said, yes, I do actually. And so I ended up like grabbing my already kind of like destroyed notebook, and I showed them the copy of it, and then they were like, oh, so you know how to sing and write. It sounds like you can do it all. And I just remember they sarcastically said it, but they were kind of like being really nice about it. And I was just like, yeah, I guess. And so it's like, what do you mean by singing? Like, did she sing something? And so like Mrs. B told them about like my singing ability during that class, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh wow, okay. And they said, yeah, because like we never heard anybody like hit a high note like that for who knows how long. But usually like opera singers will hit a high note like that. And I was just like, oh well, yeah, I don't know. I've just had practice throughout my whole life, which is me singing some fucking random songs, and it's led to me being a soprano in high school. And usually my loud voice stood out most of everybody. It really did. Like if you ask anybody from my high school, and they've been to like all of my choir performances, they'll tell you that whenever my class sung, they could distinguish my singing voice, because that's how loud I was. And I had to be that loud because there were so many altos that day, and sopranos that just couldn't hit the high notes. And I thought maybe if like I hit the high note, maybe that'll motivate them to sing higher. I don't know, but all I know is that we've had great concerts experiences from that. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, basically they just remembered about that. And then that was like the end of that, basically. So that was my middle school experience. I'll just talk about a different video on it for my high school experience, because a lot of stuff has happened since then, and I don't know if I have plenty of memories to remember about that. But all I know is that most of it was just like friendships and certain teachers, and then of course certain crushes I had, which I have explained in previous episodes. But there's a lot of friends that I've made during in high school where I'm like, I haven't explained to them yet, and explain about them to you guys, so hopefully I will be able to do that soon. But yeah, anyway, another memory that's attached to the song, and I do have one more to talk about, but I want to go talk about this real quick, which was like when my husband and I, at the time when we were still dating, and we were in long distance, because if you remember, guys, and if not, hi. My husband originally is from Texas, and right now I am living in Texas. I moved out here 7 years ago and all that, but I'm originally from California. I was born and raised in California, and at the time I dated like two guys at the time. They were both local, and they were like friends from my group in high school, and they didn't work out at all. And so I felt like I should give long distance a shot, because I've given it before, but it didn't turn out that good. And I do want to talk about those experiences with the long distance quote unquote boyfriends that I had at the time, but that would be another video for another day, basically. But anyway, so I gave long distance another shot. I went to go talk to my sister about like, oh, I want to make an account for this one online website, and my sister made one for me, and thanks to her, I met my soulmate, which is now my husband Blake. And so we talked a lot on that app, and then eventually we went from like Facebook friends, and then now we went to like texting each other, calling each other when we were long distance. And at the time he was doing GED classes, and he had to be asleep at a certain time so he can get up early in the morning. And so one day while we were on the phone, I sang this song to him, and it lulled him to sleep. And that was a very wonderful memory, because like out of all like my friends and anybody that has been interested in me like dating wise, like they've only ever heard me sing through these choir performances, but that's only because it had a certain, tone to them and this and that. But like for me, I feel like I could just sing freely when it comes to singing to like all my favorite songs that I ever grew up with. And so I remember Blake saying like, oh my goodness, like you're really good at singing. And so at one point my husband even recorded me singing like a Britney Spears song, because I also love Britney Spears. Like I love her. Oh my goodness, like she's my favorite female singer. And And I remember singing a song from that, and then he recorded a video, sent it to my sister in the group chat, and then she's like, that's adorable, and I was just like, whatever, you guys. But yeah, anyway, so now let's go talk about this last memory that's attached to the song. It's like so many memories with this song, but I felt like I wanted to explain this one, mainly because it was just like the most vivid ones that came up to my mind when I first heard the song, and then like from the last time I heard the song. So yeah, so now tune into, well, before I met my husband, I was like in college, right? And I met my husband through college, and yeah, so during that time I was going through college, and we were doing another creative writing assignment type of thing. They wanted us to like distinguish certain vocabulary words, and they thought that the easiest way would be like, oh, do you want to do it from a book? Nobody wanted to do any type of reading, and so they thought, okay, well, everybody enjoys music, so let's do a song. Bring a copy of the lyrics to one of your favorite songs, no profanity, this and that. And so I remember I brought this one, brought Build a Bridge, and to class, and then it led to a friendship, which I'm like, oh, I wish I would have kept him around, because he was such a funny dude. But and I talked about him before, if I remember, and if not, his name was Steven, and he was actually one of my very first friends that I made when I was in college. And I took up on it was like a private junior college that I went to, and they had like different types of careers from there, and I ended up choosing to see if I could study to be a pharmacy tech, but that didn't went well, because CVS actually discouraged me from pursuing that, to be honest, because I had a really bad experience at CVS, especially one that was in my hometown, and I just didn't like it. Like, I didn't like how they treated everybody there. Even when they were like really close co-workers that drank out all the time every weekend, or they visited each other's homes, they gave each other like Christmas gifts or stuff like that. It's just the vibe I was getting. It was so messed up. And then like the manager there at the time when I was doing my externship, like that's what led to it, was he was not nice. I felt like, I know he's still the manager to that place as of today, but something about him just drove me the wrong way. And I just remember him telling me like, yeah, you're going to be experiencing a bunch of managers like I am throughout all pharmacies out here. And I'm just like, fuck. So I like that. To me at the time, I was easily discouraged for a lot of stuff. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to discourage myself from pursuing pharmacy tech. And that was it. But yeah, so back when I was actually still studying to be a pharmacy tech, it led to a friendship that I just thought like, I really liked the guy. He was just really, really cool. And all I remembered was his name was Steven. And he told me at the time that him and his brother and maybe the dad are mechanics, and they worked at a CarMax in Big Bear. And I was like, oh, Big Bear, huh? I was like, have you been there? And I was like, no, I've never been there. So, well, if you're ever in the area and if you need your car fixed or something like that, we got you. And I was like, okay. And so one day when I brought over my homework assignment for like the lyrics and stuff, I don't remember what he brought over, but I knew it was a Snoop Dogg song, because he told me straight up that he really likes rap and hip hop. And then when I was just like minding my own business, I saw like the paper ripped out of my hands or something. He looked at it and just like, oh, you like Limp Bizkit? Oh my god, like I've never met anybody that likes Limp Bizkit. And I was just like, really? Like, what are you talking about? Like me and my brother were like the biggest fans, basically. And he was like, yeah, like, but I've met dudes that like Limp Bizkit. I've never met a girl that likes Limp Bizkit. And I was just like, oh, believe me, you don't know the half of it, dude. Like, I love Limp Bizkit. So he and we were talking about the band and this and that. And then he was asking me like, oh, so what this sounds like. And I told him how it sounds like. And then he's like, oh, it's different from the one from 1995 album. And I said, yeah, I know, because like everybody, whenever they hear about Limp Bizkit, they're always going to associate it with $3 bills, y'all, sorry, and this and that. And so yeah, so he and I bonded over Limp Bizkit, and he became obsessed as I was for the band. And so we just talked about it for a very, very long time. And yeah, so he and I had like lunches together where we will listen to albums of Limp Bizkit. So I remember I asked my brother, I was like, Louis, and he's like, yeah, can I borrow your Limp Bizkit CDs? And he's like, what for, like he was sus, right? And I told him that I made a friend in college and he wants to listen to the album so that way we can bond over it. And he's like, okay, but if you break them or there's a scratch on them, you know, it's gonna come out of your allowance. And I just said, yeah. So I brought the albums, and of course I brought over $3 bill, y'all, and he was just like, oh, I love this one. And I just said, so do I. But I know it was like kind of like the catalyst to me liking it, but this is my favorite album. I showed him of course, the most iconic Green album, Results May Vary, and he's just like, oh, I've never heard of this one. I just said, oh, you're gonna love it if you like the vocals. And so we bonded over that, and he's just like, damn, this is pretty good. And I said, yeah. I was like, I do like Significant Other, I really do. And then of course like other albums too, but you know, this was before like Gold Cobra, you know, because like I remember Gold Cobra didn't come out until I started going to work and this and that. And so he was like, okay, he likes this one, and then blah blah blah. And then so we bonded really really well over this like this band. And after graduation, I haven't heard anything from him. He would text me once in a while, but then it just stopped, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if he moved on or whatever. He even invited me to have like coffee or basically like just some random stuff like happening, and I told him I wouldn't mind, but like, yeah, I don't know if like maybe it discouraged him or something. I don't know. But all I know, after that, he was just like really busy. And then I lost his number along the way because I ended up changing numbers. And then from there, I was just like, well, whatever's going on with Steven, hopefully it's pretty good for him. Hopefully he is doing well, and hopefully his, I don't know if he still works at that CarMax over there in Big Bear, but he's told me that's the only CarMax there is in Big Bear at the time. So who knows if they expanded since then or whatever, but hopefully things are going well for him. But yeah. So that was basically much it that I want to talk about with you guys before this video goes on any longer. But yeah, so that was all the memories that I want to talk about with like this song. Like, a lot of people would say like, well, since this is your favorite song, it should be a lot of happy memories. And I was just like, yes. And I felt like those 4 memories I talked about attached to the song were pretty good, because I felt like it led to like me enjoying like my hobbies more now as an adult. Whereas before, I just remember like a lot of people were trying to discourage me, but not really. It was just like mainly like, oh, why would you want to write? Like, there's some other careers out there that might be better. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But I was like not really interested in that type of stuff, because I was like, well, all I want to do is just enjoy my life now, that what I have right now. And then so, but if I ever do pursue to self-publish or anything like that, who knows? Who knows? But for singing wise, no, I'm good. I'd rather just sing in my bedroom, singing to Limp Bizkit songs or other songs that I have in my playlists, and then just enjoy from there. But for writing, it's like, maybe 50-50, but like, I feel like I need more feedback on my stuff. But yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go for now. I am going to actually go take a shower. I am a mess, and yeah, I need to start actually thinking about what I'm gonna do for supper, and hopefully that doesn't take long either. So hopefully I'll think about that when I'm in the shower. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning this video. I know this is a long one too, but not as long as my other episodes, but hopefully it is still an enjoyable one. I don't know when the next episode's going to be. Hopefully within the same month, or if not next month. But I don't want to like make it where it's a habit where I missed out 1 month and I gotta go make it up and then do like two of these episodes in a row. So yeah, so maybe next week will be either a shopping haul video, or I'm going to do a crafting video for you guys. Who knows? Because I have been crafting also, and I am about to craft today too. I had this idea for a while, and then like I did it with my mother-in-law when I was at her house at one point, and then now I want to finish up on this project along with another project that I have. So yeah, and it's gonna be like quick and easy and stuff like that. So yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. So hopefully you guys have a lovely day and a lovely week, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye everyone.